for you people that don't know who this is on this side, this is Taylor, and she's our director of production. She shoots all of the beautiful videos and images that you see. But we thought it would be interesting if these guys had to talk about some things around food and exercise.
So
Yeah.
we have to talk.
So what we were talking about is what it feels like to already be that you're already the after and the before and after. And how that feels for, just when you're working with people who are beginners.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, hey, it feels good. It feels good. I'm where I want to be. I certainly didn't wake up like this. Or maybe I did this morning, actually. But that was actually after years of hard work, I've worked out for years to get where I am. And it doesn't happen overnight.
And so, I guess how this all came to be is that we were saying, when you walk by McDonald's and Subway and things like that, and you, actually, the smell comes out and you're like, oh my god. I know for me, I immediately am like, I know that's disgusting. I know it's made of, newspaper and entrails, but I still want to eat it. There's something emotional that drives you. Do you ever get like that? Do you ever have to fight cravings like that?
Not particularly for McDonald's. McDonald's doesn't do it for me. But yeah, I have my things. There's a certain burger joint in town, which I always want to have. And fries are my Waterloo. As long as I'm presented with fries, I will eat them. I love fries. But generally, I'm very conscious about how food makes me feel. You know what I mean? Certain food makes you feel good, and other food makes you feel good while you're eating it. But as soon as you're finished eating it, like McDonald's, you feel a little shitty.
And do you get that that food baby where you're 6 months?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. Sometimes I blow like everyone else, and sometimes I'll eat all sorts of rubbish, I mean, it's natural.
How do you stop yourself mid-meal? When you still have fries left on your plate and you know that your portion has passed 10 handfuls ago.
Oh yeah, the fries I always overdo. I always overdo the fries. But as long as it's not every day, it's once in a while, that's, you have to earn those. If you earn it, you're good.
Are there any like actual tricks? I've heard like if you drink water during a meal, or if you don't drink water, all those like weird things be like curb your, while you're doing it, you're actively trying to like trick yourself somehow.
Yeah, I do try to drink water. I drink lots of water all the time. And yeah, I think if you do drink like a liter of water before a meal, you will eat less because you're already full. But
what about alcohol? How do you handle going out?
Ah, yes, I quite like alcohol. I quite like the drink. Well, you know what? If I know I'm going to have a drink, I'll try to like, I'll choose my drinks well. Like I'll skip the sugary mixers, the juices, things like that, and maybe go for a vodka soda, and maybe not go for 10 of them.
Just the straight glass. Just cut out the water.
Yeah.
And is it possible to pursue fitness and go out and party on weekends? What happens? How do those things work together?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I do it. You know what? I think if you approach both your workouts and your nutrition as sort of like an 80-20, but the 80-20 rule you call it. 80% of the time you're good, you're going to work, you're doing the things you're supposed to do, you're eating right, and 20% of the time you're enjoying life, you're going out, you're eating a pizza, you're having a couple of drinks. I think that's a good balance if you want to live in the world as a normal human being, you know what I mean?
And I think that's like kind of one of the coolest things, and I know I've said this to you before, is like having met many different people that do this in varying ways. I think you're one of the only ones that I've met that seems to do it in a real world circumstance where you have a handle on it, where it is all consuming, but it all consuming in a very positive way. Like you seem to have a very solid balance. Like I've seen you eat pizza, I've seen you eat a burger, I've seen you like sit back, but I've also seen you just like in incredible form in a way that doesn't seem like you're killing yourself over it. You genuinely enjoy it and do it in a way where you still maintain that love for it without kind of like self-hating it.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for that. I mean, I think I had to learn that. There was a stage where I thought, you know, I did have to suffer all the time to maintain a good, a good condition or whatever. But, you know, you don't, especially if you want to live in the world and you want to be normal and you want to have your sanity intact. It's very important, yeah, to do these things, to live like a normal human being.
When you first started it, like, how did you I guess like when you say keeping your sanity intact, when did you finally cross over and change how you were doing things in order to keep it going, like to realize that you wanted longevity in this, not just like these short bursts?
Yeah, I mean, I burnt out at one point. I definitely burnt out at one point, and like happens with a lot of dieters and competitors. You burn yourself out, and then you totally regress, and you put on 10 pounds, and you stop working out, and you start to hate it, you know. But if you maintain the balance the whole way through, it's very manageable.
Do you think it's harder to balance the exercise portion or the nutrition portion?
For me, the nutrition, I think for most people, it's the nutrition that's more challenging. I find working out super fun. I love working out. That's the easy part. It's the eating well and not drinking so much and watching the fry intake that's more challenging, I feel.
What about for the people that also aren't
like
smiling all the way through the gym?
You gotta find love in the workouts. Like we're animals, and we're meant to move. We're meant to do these things, and it makes you feel so good. Like I don't know why anyone would hate working out personally.
At which point, you know, most people when they start working out or start a new program, it's work. It's something that they have to schedule in. It's something that they have to really find a lot of motivation just to begin.
Yeah.
At what point, and like how long in this process will people start to feel like they're enjoying it?
Yeah.
Because that always seems to happen, but it's just it's just that past that certain stage.
Yeah.
So how do we get people to that stage, and like usually how long is it in your experience to get there?
Well, I think any sort of new habit that you take on, there's always like this learning curve or adaptation period, and I think they say like 2 weeks. Like if you start a new sort of habit, I think the general rule is that it takes 2 weeks for it to become a real habit. And I think the same is with fitness. I think it's about the same. Yeah, 2 weeks and you got a good foot in the door.
And like personally, obviously I'm at no level of what you do. I was like, but I do try and move and do stuff. But I found that when I was trying to get into it, and I did start working with a trainer, I started pulling back because I didn't like what I was doing.
Okay.
And I was just going like, well, like I know that I want X, Y, and Z, so I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna lift weights and I'm gonna do cardio and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, well, I have physical limitations that change what I can do, but I also just like wasn't loving it, and so I just wasn't invested in it. And then once I finally found a form of fitness that I was really into,
BodyRock.
but like once I found, I guess, my groove, it really made that mental switch. It wasn't as much like, do you find that like when people are going like, well, I lift weights because I think I should, versus
exactly,
like I like yoga, I like swimming, I like these kind of like fringe activities.
Yeah, it's important to find what you love. And you know what, like I love the gym, I love being in the weight room, but I understand that not every woman feels comfortable walking into the weight room and, you know, asking some guy if he's done with that bench or whatever. I get that. So I think it's really important to like find an environment that you feel comfortable in, find an activity that you love, and and pursue it.
What do you think of the stat? I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier, that the #1 reason women are stopping or just like give up on their fitness is because they're embarrassed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get the gym is a super intimidating place, and you know, especially if there are a lot of fit people there, and you know, you're not there yet. I understand the difficulty and the intimidation, but there's, you know what, we all start somewhere. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Nobody's judging you. You think people are judging you? Nobody cares. You know, do your thing, and just keep your eye on the prize and get it done.
Cool.
I feel like we're both like so shiny, and because it's 900 degrees in here, just like white and being like,
good talk.
Yeah.